Good morning. Today we're going on to the next lesson involving integers, and that's going to be dividing integers. In our Reveal textbook, we're going to be doing lesson 4 out of module number 3. Let's get it launched and we're going to get on into it. Now, the biggest thing you need to understand about dividing integers, you already know everything you need to know in order to be successful with it. You see, you know how to divide, at least I hope you do, and you know the rules for multiplying integers. Well, guess what? The rules for dividing integers are exactly the same. A negative divided by a negative is a positive. A negative divided by a positive is a negative. A positive divided by a negative is a negative, and a positive divided by a positive, well, that's still a positive, just like it's always been. All the rules are the same. All you have to do is apply it to division right now. So this should be a pretty darn easy lesson. On the learn category here, they say division is the inverse operation of multiplication, the same way that subtraction is the inverse operation of addition. And you can find a quotient using the related multiplication sequence. So here, they're taking some baby math, some mental stuff, and they're showing you how that when you had 36 divided by negative 3, well, that equaled negative 12. And if you were to take and look at the inverse of that, negative 3 times negative 12, that ended up being a positive 36, because as we proved in our last lesson, a negative times a negative, that's going to end up equaling a positive. So what number multiplied by negative 3 is equal to a 36? That is, of course, going to be a negative 12. So 36 divided by negative 3 is also going to be a negative 12. From here, if you looked at it in words, you would see that the quotient of two integers with different signs, that's going to be negative, and right now we're looking at dividing integers with different signs, and examples of that is what we just looked at. A negative 36 divided by a positive 3 is a negative 12, because if you got a negative divided by a positive, you're going to have a negative. If you have a positive divided by a negative, you're going to have a negative. Anytime you're dividing two different signs, the final sign is going to be a negative answer. So let's take a look at example number 1, which says divide integers with different signs, and the problem we have is positive 90 divided by negative 10. Well, a couple ways to go about it. First thing, they say the signs in the integers, they're going to be different. You have a positive sign and a negative sign, therefore the quotient, and remember quotient is the answer to a division problem, that's going to be negative as well. 90 divided by 10 is 9, positive divided by negative, negative 9. That's all there is to doing these problems. Super simple, nothing that should be overly taxing to your brain. You guys now go ahead, pause the video, and work on extra example number 1 on your own. It should only take you a few seconds to do this if you know your division facts. So how did that one go? Should have got the right answer, I hope. A negative divided by a positive, that's going to become a negative. 77 divided by 11, that's going to be 7. Check your answer, and the answer checks. Easy math. There's nothing to do in these problems. Let's move on to the next one here. This one is set up as a word problem where the best underwater divers can dive almost 380 feet in 4 minutes using a rope as they descend. Now, something to understand here. They're not using tanks. They're holding their breath for 4 minutes going down that deep. Absolute insanity to me. But hey, people do it. At this rate, what integer represents the change in feet of a diver's position per minute? So they're going down. It's a negative 380 feet because they're going down. So let's go ahead and highlight that. And it is taking place over the course of 4 minutes. So let's go ahead and highlight that. So from here, we're going to take and figure out what they do. What integer represents the change? Well, that's going to be a negative 380 because they're going down 380 feet in the 4 minutes. From there, what are we going to do to write it? Well, we're taking that 380 feet and we're dividing it into 4 1-minute sections. Check that out. That checks. Last thing we have to do is do the actual math. Let's see, that's going to be 380 divided by 4. That will end up being, well, 32 is 8. 36 is 9. 95, I think. So we're going to do a negative, because a negative divided by positive is a negative. 95. Am I right? Uh-oh. What was the actual answer? Oh, well, hold on. I read it wrong. Okay, what's the diverse? What integer record? Yeah, well, I did that. Let's try this again. Negative 95 here. Guess I misread the first question. My negative 95 is the correct answer. Easy, easy math. Next thing I want you guys to do is I want you to take and dig into extra example number 2, and you do this one on your own as well. So how did that one end up working out for you? Should have been pretty simple. Let's take a look at it over here. We're going to take, and Cody withdrew, because he withdrew, it's a negative $36 from his bank account over the course of 4 days, divided by 4 in equal amounts. 36 divided by 4, that's going to be 9. Negative divided by positive, negative 9. Jump back over to our textbook, type in our negative 9, and check the answer. What do they say? Why are they saying it's a positive 9? They're wrong, because it should be a negative 9, because he withdrew. That's a negative 36 over a course of positive 4 days. Textbook screwed up on that one. My answer is a correct answer on that. Next, we're going to take and learn how to divide integers that have the same sign. You've been doing this for years when you divide a positive number by a positive number, but we're also going to look at dividing negative numbers by negative numbers. For example, here you've got negative 20 divided by negative 4, and the answer is going to be 5. How do we know this? Well, if we were to use the inverse operation of negative 4 times 5, 4 times 5 is 20, and a negative times a positive is a negative. Therefore, a negative divided by negative, guess what? It has to equal a positive. It's just the way the numbers are going to end up working. Moving forward from there, if you look at it in words, it says that the quotient, remember the quotient is the answer to a division problem, the quotient of two integers with the same sign is going to be positive, and an example of that is positive 20 divided by positive 4 equals a positive 5, just like negative 20 divided by negative 4 also is going to equal to a negative 5. Let's keep moving. Nothing of interest there, so we're going to reset that one, and we're going to look at example number 3, where they're going to take a negative 30 divided by negative 6. We need to recognize the fact the integers, the signs in front of the integers are the same. They're both negative, and since they're both negative, we know that the quotient is going to have to be a positive, because anytime you have the same signs dividing each other, you end up with a positive answer. Check it, and that's going to check. Moving forward from there, and nothing we care about there. So from here, let's keep moving. Extra example number 3 says negative 64 divided by negative 8. Go ahead and pause the video and work on that one on your own. So let's take a look at it. We have a negative divided by negative. That tells us our answer is going to be positive. 64 divided by 8. That's just going to be 8. Check it. Easy math. There's nothing at all to do in these problems. Reset that one, and let's take and move on to example number 4. So for this problem, what they gave us is y divided by x, where y is equal to negative 155 and x is equal to a negative 5. And they worked it out using good algebraic supporting work. Let's zoom in here a little bit, and you can see first they used substitution, substituted the y and the x with their appropriate numbers. From there, they rewrote it as a division problem, which you can do. You don't have to do that, because a fraction is just a division problem that has not been solved. I'm not going to make you do that step. And from here, because the signs are the same, the quotient is going to end up being positive. And it's a positive 31 for your final answer. So you just put in a 31 right there, because 155 divided by 5 is equal to 31. A negative divided by negative, that's going to be a positive. Now, the last thing that we have to do is you guys have one more practice problem to work on your own. That's extra example number 4. Go ahead and pause the video and work on this one on your own. So how'd that one work out for you? let's take a look at the problem here. We have a divided by b, where a is a negative 132 and b is going to be a negative 111. Well, first thing I know is I've got a negative divided by negative, and I like to do this. I like to put a line through them because a negative divided by negative is a positive, and that's no longer an issue. And from here, well, let's see, 11 goes into 13 one time. There's going to be 2 left over, giving us a 22. 11 goes into 22 2 times. So our final answer should be a positive 12. Jump back to the textbook. Whoops, not the button I wanted. Put in our positive 12. Check our answer, and it checks. That's it for this lesson. Go ahead and pause the video or stop the video and get started on your homework assignment. If you have any issues, let me know or ask questions during class tomorrow.